Okay, so since tangent and cotangent are reciprocals of each other, I've just written out that relationship now. So there they are. Tangent of x equals 1 over cotangent x equals 1 over tangent x. Whew, I'm like pretty tired. I just got out of my induction training for the new teachers, and I ate like 9 chocolate chip cookies, and now I'm like really out of breath. Whew, so I got to power through this video. Okay, here we go. So we already graphed tangent in a previous problem just a couple videos ago. So let's just throw that graph on here. And we'll remind ourselves what's going on. Here's 0. Here's pi. 2 pi. Negative 2 pi. 3 pi over 2. Pi over 2. Right, negative pi. Negative pi over 2. Negative 3 pi over 2. And then we know tangent is undefined wherever cosine is 0, just like we said in the previous video. So we'll put our asymptotes at 3 pi over 2, pi over 2, negative pi over 2, and negative 3 pi over 2. And then tangent represents the slope of the lines on the unit circle. So it starts as being a huge negative slope, it comes up and then it's 0, and then it shoots up to infinity. And then it does that on every cycle. Kind of looks like a bunch of cubic functions. Okay, that was kind of bad. We'll have to redo that one. There we go, and then one more. Okay. So then what we know about cotangent is, well, because tangent is 1 over cotangent, whenever cotangent's 0, that must be where tangent is undefined, because 1 over 0 means we have a vertical asymptote. So wherever there's a vertical asymptote, that must mean that cotangent is crossing through the x-axis at that point. So we can put in these zeros. The next thing we know is that wherever tangent is 0, cotangent is going to be undefined because it's 1 over 0. So wherever tangent is 0, we can go ahead and put in a vertical asymptote for cotangent, because then we have 1 over 0 for cotangent. So put it in green so we can keep it separate. Alright, and then one more. Alright, so then what we need to figure out is what's going on with cotangent. Is it going up like this from left to right, or is it going to go down from left to right? Well, if we look at a unit circle, this is going to be kind of hard for us to think about because we've been thinking about sine over cosine, but cotangent is cosine over sine. So, for example, if we draw this line, cosine is really small, and sine is becoming close to 1, so we have like basically 0 divided by basically 1, which is 0. And that makes sense because up here we're at pi over 2, and we know at pi over 2 cotangent is 0. So now let's think about what happens. Let's see what our first cycle is. Our first cycle is from 0 to pi. Okay, so let's figure out what's happening from 0 to pi, which is from here all the way over to here. So first what's happening with cotangent is we have cosine over sine. So it starts up being really big because we're taking a cosine value close to 1 divided by a sine value close to 0. It's big, it's becoming smaller, 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 it's 0. So it starts big and goes small. So that means we start up here. We're going to come down until it hits 0 at pi over 2. And then we have to keep moving along here. So now it's a big negative slope. And then it's becoming, okay, so it's a small cosine value over a bigger sine value, so it's close to 0. And then now it's becoming bigger and bigger and bigger until we get to a point where we have a cosine value that's pretty close to negative 1 over a sine value that's pretty close to 0, which when we take a number that's negative divided by a number that's, or if we take 1 divided by a negative number that's pretty small, then we are going to go to negative infinity. So then that's how this cycle is going to look for all of these. We cross through and shoot down. And then this actually looks pretty cool when we graph them next to each other. I'm not the best artist, as you know, but when you graph cotangent and tangent on the same axes, they cross each other twice. and it actually looks kind of like DNA or like double helixes or whatever. So there it is. There's tangent and cotangent related to each other. The biggest takeaway is that whenever tangent's 0, cotangent's undefined. Whenever cotangent's 0, tangent's undefined.